Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the final session of the 6 days online international faculty development program organized by the Department of Commerce, Bishop Appasamy College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. It's a glad welcome I bring to you all this morning, filled with desires, hopes, and dreams we all share. It's gratifying and pleasing to welcome our speaker of today's session, Mrs. Cyprian Omalo, who accepted our invitation within a very short period. She is very happy to share her insights and thoughts on virtual counseling. I request Dr. Sam Jayachandran, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, to introduce our resource person.
Good morning, one and all. I welcome you all for this last day session. It is my great pleasure to introduce the resource person of this day, Mrs. Cyprian Omalo, lead coach and transition manager, Clean Start Kenya. Madam is a trained sociologist from Nairobi University, Kenya. She did coaching for leadership program with Reservoir Trust London. She also did leadership level 2 at the Artificial Leadership Institute of Community Development, South Africa. At present, she is associated with an social enterprise called Clean Start that works with women and girls who have gone through prison and are reintegrating back to the society in normal life. We are really happy to share such an industrious and eminent personality to share her opinions, learnings, and advice, particularly to the teaching fraternity for today's session. I welcome you, ma'am, and I request Mrs. Cyprian Omalo to address the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Can I share the screen now?
Wow. So you can share the screen.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for this wonderful opportunity to be here. I am truly grateful, and we can go to the slides and we can start our session. I must say that I work with women and girls who have been in prison and who are slowly reintegrating back into the society. And that has been our call or my purpose since the year 2015. And it was inspired by the fact that I was in prison at some point, and therefore the need to support the women and girls. So this Clean Start as an organization is a foundation that we have started from scratch, and we have seen it grow for the last few years. And when Mr. Anand, who is a close friend, asked me to be here this morning, I was truly honored, and I'm grateful. And if we could just dive into our class this morning, we are talking about virtual counseling sessions or e-therapy sessions, and I'm going to talk and I've contextualized the content to suit. I'll speak a lot and share a lot from the experience that I have had in the last few days with the women and girls that I have worked with. So if we could kindly go to the next slide. Next slide, please.
Yeah, just a minute.
I would also just want to say that the main objective for this session is to support counselors on how best they can be a support system for their clients during this time of lockdown. Countries worldwide are actually on lockdown, and there is the need for counseling to go on because people have mental health issues that are bothering them. So that has been, I'm going to speak from experience, from what we are doing as an organization, and also from what other people who we are closely working with are doing. So if we just go to slide number 3, the purpose of counseling is generally to support people to live happier lives and to support them to live happier lives and to be better in dealing with issues or the trauma that they have undergone in the past. It could be a mental health issue, it could be post-traumatic stress disorder, or it could just be a normal life issue that they are going through. So we are going to look at the capabilities of ways that we can be able to still support our clients even at this time when they are, there is the lockdown period. And if we could go to slide number 4, Rosemary, that will be amazing. And so we say that e-therapy or online counseling and psychotherapy has enjoyed some massive growth the last few years, and researchers are still trying to find ways to be able to improve the efficacy of online counseling. And I believe that in the next couple of years, we are going to see massive growth in this area, considering that the changes that are happening all over the world. It could mean that in the near future, most of this area is going to evolve, and people are going to embrace online counseling more. However, I am aware that the ordinary style of counseling is for people to meet physically and have face-to-face meetings. The world, or what is happening, is forcing us to change that tradition and to embrace online counseling. We are at slide number 5, and I'm going to talk about the advantages of online counseling. And what I'm saying here is that there are certain advantages. As much as we are not able to see one another, or your client is not, you're not able to have that physical connection with your client, there are certain advantages in terms of accessibility for those who live remotely or have transportation issues, like your students now. They cannot leave the house, but they may need support in one way or another. So single parents with young children who may not want to move from one place to another, yet they have these things that are going on in terms of their mental health that would want sorted out. Affordability, when it comes to the practitioners themselves or the counselors, people may not be able to afford rent to get a space to run the sessions, but when you're doing it online, it's just a matter of getting your laptop or your phone and going ahead to have a counseling session with a client, and that could happen from wherever you are. It is also convenient, and as noted, the possible 1 minute you can move from your bedroom and get into the next room to do the counseling session, or you can walk down the shop, have coffee where you're having a counseling session with your client. And for our clients who have been in prison, the issue of anonymity, some of them, they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be known. And when you're having those sessions with those clients who may not want to be known, then this then becomes an advantage to them, because they're able to share from their experience. They're able to share their experience without really exposing themselves to more harm that they may feel after sharing. And then there's also the perception of stigma. And this, again, I'll take back to our clients. I'm really trying to contextualize so that you can also think about it in your own context. So the perception of stigma, most of our clients, when they come out of prison, are truly stigmatized. And in Kenya, we actually have 0 reintegration programs. So most of these women and girls go through a very difficult period. Therefore, having online sessions with them reduces that stigma and the judgment that they may feel, as opposed to having the one-to-one sessions. And I believe that Rosemary will share the slides with you after this, but I'm seeing there's an issue with the scrolling, but I will just go ahead and do it on my end. This is some of the challenges we face when it comes to technology. Then there is the communication flow. If you decide that you're going to have online counseling in terms of written communication with your client, then we have also used this. The reason why we have used some of these methods, and these are ideas that came over this lockdown period because we still had to support our clients. And so the fact that you're writing a letter or you're writing an email to your client in terms of asking them the questions and showing them how they're going to be able to overcome the challenge that they are facing at that particular time, it gives you time to think, and it also gives your client time to think about what they can write and respond. And Rosemary, we are already at around slide number 7. So maybe if it allows you, you can go up to that slide. But if not,
yeah, definitely.
I will continue.
I'll do that.
Okay, sure. Okay, so what are other forms? So what forms of communication are we talking about when we talk about online counseling? And then we go to slide number 8, and it says that it talks about the formats of online counseling, but we have other names that we use, additional names that we use for online counseling. And you can hear terms like e-therapy, there is web counseling, there is telepsychology, internet counseling, online therapy, and e-counseling. So those are some of the terms that are being thrown out there by other people on the terms to use for online counseling. And if we could go to the next slide. So what are the formats? One of the ways that we have tried to use as an organization, one has been telephone-based. For clients who want to remain anonymous, we try to interact with them via audio to give them that space for them to share, but also to just to feel free to share, but without video. There are those we have resorted to using email, as I've just told you. So we write emails to them, and then they respond to us. And when it is time for them to want to have that physical or to have that physical or a video call, then we allow them to now come on board, and we can have that. We have formed certain things, we are calling them the chats, or we are using Messenger, we are using WhatsApp groups, and we are calling these spaces the circles of healing. And these are spaces where these women and girls can truly share their hearts, and they are healing spaces for these girls to just share what they are going through. Most of these women, when they go back home, they have no place to sleep, they have no food, they have children to take care of, they become highly vulnerable. Last night, I was dealing with a case of a woman who had just been stabbed by the boyfriend. And just after we had had a discussion with Pradeep, then I get this call, and this woman has been stabbed by the boyfriend. Now, there are all these issues of what these women face. And therefore, we are trying to find ways, even at this time, to support our women best, and to ensure that even at this time, we give them what they need to be able to pull up through this lockdown session. So we have those WhatsApp groups, we have virtual circle of healing, we have, some are using Messenger. So any avenue of communication that is out there that is being used, we are utilizing them. So that is social network based, and then there are other cloud computing, virtual based emergent technologies that are actually coming up. When we go to slide number 11, please. So what are some of the things that you must consider beforehand? It is one thing to agree with your client that you're going to have a teleconferencing, but in this, and you'll hold down in lockdown, but it is actually something else to permanently run a major portion of your practice online. Even for you teachers, I know it's a bit difficult to do it online throughout, because sometimes you have to meet with your client. So what are some of those things that you must consider beforehand? And as we continue to the next slide, these are some of the things that, and these are just things that have come up during this time that we have thought about. It is not the right thing to do, but you can always find a way of contextualizing this to suit your own sessions or your own situation. So first of all, consider, are you the right person for that particular counseling session? Are you the right person? Because there's somebody else with mental health, there's somebody else with trauma, there's somebody else who has been sexually abused. So are you the right person to actually handle that client? So some of the things you could also check are, would you relate alone to working with the computer as opposed to interacting with your client? So what methodology would you choose as an individual to interact with your client? Is it physical contact, or is it the computer? So what portion of your work would you be comfortable in on the online setting? So what portion, those are decisions you must make, considering whatever the client brings to you. And number 3, I would say, do you currently enjoy or feel comfortable interacting with others through an online medium? Are you content in working without the actual physical presence of a person? And could you manage the administration and practicalities of online office with the associated responsibility, appointments, and system requirements? So it is upon you to decide what will work best for you and your client, and whatever you're dealing with, how best to handle it. Is it something that you will need to refer to someone else? Is it something that you can be able to handle? Is it something that you can use a different form of interaction? We go to the technical competence. It is important in this time and era of technology. We have had to become very technological efficient, as in we have been forced or pushed to work with technology. And so in addition to having a conducive environment for working and being online for portions of your day, there is the question of technical competence. So it is important that practitioners should be sufficiently sufficiently competent in the use of technology in their work to be able to provide the assistance needed. So are you good in Zoom? Are you able to set up the sessions? Those are things that sometimes can be very challenging for some people. Maybe for you it may not, but here in Africa, in Kenya actually, it is not an easy thing. The reliable Wi-Fi connectivity. Actually, a few minutes ago, my light just went and I was like, wow. And I have a session to run. So I had to look for other options to get this going, because then I had to be online. So the reliability of your services, it's important to check on that. And then competence also includes having access to technological support that responds to confidentiality of the work. So the area that you have set up your work, is it confidential enough? Is it conducive for your client? Is your client willing to share in that particular environment? And then, so if you're caught in the midst of the lockdown, and you have a client who really needs a session with you, you might just end up having an online session with them. And the last few days since March, we have been forced to improvise for our women and have online sessions with them. And so some of the things that I have thought about in terms of just the ethical or online counseling, and this is very basic, because we are in the learning process, I would say that as you go to that slide number 17, Rosemary, I would say a quiet environment is needed to have those online sessions. And observe time. In Kenya, people get late for an online meeting. So I wonder how people get late for an online meeting in Kenya. So that is ours, but you can get your own in your own way. What happens in your own organization or in your own setting? What happens? Maybe timekeeping is not it's not an issue. So ensure you have a place that is confidential. It is quiet. It is conducive for your client. It is confidential, and always set the confidentiality rule And then last, you have a gadget that is working. You have stable Wi-Fi. You have data on your phone if that is what you need to do. And that's just it. So that is Miss Cyprian with my little presentation, with my little knowledge that I've tried to contextualize so much to our context, but you could also use the notes to support the students that you work with. And I'm happy I'm just done. And thank you so much, Rosemary. If there are any questions.
That was a wonderful presentation, Mrs. Cyprian. Can we open the session for questions?
Yeah, sure. It's open for questions or feedback.
Okay. Participants, kindly raise your hands if you have any questions. We are getting feedbacks from the participants. They say it's a very fantastic session, very nice presentation.
Thank you, thank you.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can post it to the chat box or you can raise your hands. Very informative session.
Thank you.
There's a question, how can we get ourselves relieved from stress? How can
we get ourselves
relieved from stress?
Sure. I think that is can be from a person to person's basis. What I have learned to do, because I work from home, I have tried to find ways that I can be able to just slow down and get myself into a space that I can work. So I believe each and every one of us has their own way. You need to find a way of managing that stress. What I do is I take a walk. So once it reaches a certain time at 4 p.m. my time, I take a walk and I put down everything and I take a walk. There are people who have resorted to reading. There are people who have resorted to exercising. So I believe that everyone has their own way. You need to find your own way of getting stress relieved. Yeah, and if not, it's always good to talk to somebody. Yes, I believe, I'm not sure if that is answered well.
Okay. There is another question. How effective have you found virtual counseling sessions compared to face-to-face sessions?
At first, for us, it was very difficult because we are dealing with women who have come from prison and they are truly traumatized. And getting our way or working our way to be able to support these women best has been a journey. So since March, we have just been we are calling it building blocks. Yeah, trying one thing, finding that this doesn't work, and then doing something else. So most of the time we let the client advise of what will work best for them. And then if there is a need for physical meeting, then we organize that. It is not very effective, and it is work in progress. And as I have said, that in the near future, I believe that this is going to evolve as researchers are trying to come up with ways that we can do online counseling. The best method of counseling is actually face-to-face, so that you can see your client, but sometimes we are forced to. And how do we adapt to this? So we have been forced to adapt. The last few years, the last few months, we have been forced to adapt to what is happening around the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and one more person has asked, how is the people in your place coping up with the stress, and what major role is taking up?
So unfortunately, the last few months, we have had a lot of stress-related issues coming up in the media, women killing their children. We have had women killing themselves. It has been crazy. But we as a nation and as an organization, we are trying to give all the support we can. So a lot of call lines have been set up for people to just call in, and for people to call in and share their own experiences or what they are going through. We have, as for our women, we emphasize so much on the group therapy sessions. Even for women in prison, we have group therapy sessions where they can just share what is going on in their life and what is happening in their life. So those are things that we have tried to work around at this time. It is a huge problem now: mental health, unemployment, people having stress, but we are trying to find ways to support them in the best way we can. Yes.
Can we take up one more question?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. The present pandemic situation has a huge impact on the children. How could this be overcome?
Yes, that is something that is happening, especially with the children. And it is still work in progress, as I must say. For our girls, like in their rehabilitation schools, we have tried to ensure that they are kept as busy as possible. So even with having online classes, because some of them are having online classes, we make sure that their day is filled up with a lot of activities, so games, and they are not idle. And also just trying to make sure that children are you are observing them keenly, so that you can be able to notice when they are not in the right space. So a lot of activities for the children, a lot of just keeping them engaged, to be very busy, and also just explain to them, talk to them, tell them what is happening, because sometimes we assume that children don't know and don't understand, but we need to just tell them this is what is happening, and when things get better, then we will move to the normal way of living. And that has also been a huge challenge here in Kenya. Yeah, sure.
And I think one more last question. How can we handle adolescent in online counseling, since mood swing is the main behavior?
Yeah. Adolescents in online counseling, and as I have said, it is important that you let the client, listen to what the client is saying. So our girls in the rehabilitation schools are actually adolescents. And so we have devised a way of creating a relationship with them. A lot of relationship creation at the beginning of any interaction. And we have devised ways of them telling us, as opposed to us telling them telling us of what they would want done. So we devised formulas or ways of having the girls open up, and share. So if it could be maybe writing, because that is one of the things that we realized that the adolescents love. So we had, like in the rehabilitation schools now, we have we are using journals where they can write their experiences. And if they want you to, if they are comfortable enough, you can have a look at the journal. Although we don't intrude into privacy, but we allow them to actually just slowly come up, open up, and share with us. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mrs. Cyprian, for taking your time out from your busy schedule and honoring us with your presence. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Dear participants, we continue our session with the next speaker. Now we have another special guest for our session who is going to give us tips on fitness and health. I'm truly delighted to welcome and introduce Dr. R. Kalaivani, Chief Physiotherapist. Welcome to the session, madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
She has completed her Bachelor of Physiotherapy in Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Paramedical Sciences. She is practicing her profession with 2 branches of physiotherapy, clinics in Sai Baba Colony and Saravnapatti, Coimbatore. She believes hands are the best tools to diagnose and treat. With her unique tagline, Freedom from Pain, treated more than 3,000 patients and 16 plus years of experience in treating orthopedic patients. She was the first female manual therapy practitioner. She is one of the top 20 kinegetics practitioners in India, particularly the only person in South India. We are indeed happy to have you with us, madam. Over to Dr. Kalaivani.
Yes, I'm very happy, ma'am. Very excited to be here to bring awareness to all people. I think the occupational pains are more common nowadays because we have been attending so many cases like this with a complaint of neck pain, back pain, even eye strains due to the online sessions and usage of video games. So I thought this would be the right time for me to throw some light on it. Okay. Okay, shall I start share my screen?
Yeah, sure, you can do it. I have enabled screen sharing for you.
Can everyone see?
Yes, madam, it's visible. Yes.
Yeah, this is my concern name, Wellness Physiotherapy and Fitness Clinic. Sai Baba Colony, as Pratibha ma'am said. So before starting my speech, I would like to throw some light on know your body, because it is the best intelligent indicator of all, because it signals us all the discomforts every now and then. The only problem is we are not being aware of it. So now on, please pay attention. Please, if you are conscious about it, if you are paying attention to your body's needs, your body's discomforts, your thought process, you don't have to go to the hospitals every now and then, because it is giving signals every now and then, like it will show the dehydration, it will show the cravings, it will show the deficiencies, it will show the excess vitamins or whatever. Just you have to be conscious about it, your state of being, you have to be aware. That is the only key. So I can give you some examples how your body indicates your discomforts. So you can relate to my above statement. For example, if you have dry eyes, dry skin, and if you are swallowing your saliva often, it indicates that your body needs water, your body needs hydration, because only as earth has got 70% portion as water, and as well as our body also has got 70% of fluids. So it needs fuel, it needs fuel to circulate the energy within our body. So you need hydration every now and then. So you're being on online classes, please keep some water beside you and sip it every often. Every 10 minutes or every 20 minutes you have to sip your water, because you've been continuously under some planning, under some thought processes, so your body will be dehydrating. You need to sip water often. The second indication is like a deep breathing. You will have a sigh, like We often take this, we don't know why it happens. It indicates that you are not being in the present, you're under stress. It indicates that you're under stress. So you have to, you may be thinking of the past, you may be worrying of the past incidents, or you may be worrying about the future, you may be rehearsing for your future. That is the thing it indicates. So then you have to take a right posture, you have to do some breathing exercises, take some deep breath and provide some oxygen to your brain. Your body is saying like, hello, please stop overthinking for a while, give me some rest, please stop secreting the stress chemicals. So likewise, you have to attend it. If you're taking a deep breath, please be aware that you are under tension. Your body is releasing so many stress hormones rather than the happy hormones. So be aware of it and take necessary steps immediately. Then the third indication may be like your body may be craving for something. Like example, you may be very deficient in magnesium, and your body asks for dark chocolates often. So it indicates that you need magnesium. Your magnesium is available in dry almonds, avocados, and even pumpkin seeds, roasted pumpkin seeds. So if you're aware of it, you can. Magnesium is the utmost beautiful, very essential thing for our body. It leads to so many complications. It leads to 65 conditions. Actually, its deficiency leads to 65 conditions, as far as we have seen in our body. Even so many cramps, so many tensions, so many muscle tightness, muscle stiffnesses we have seen with the deficiency of magnesium. So if if the muscles are not present only your arms and legs, even your heart has muscles, even your lungs has muscles, even your brain has muscles. So it may lead to heart attack also. Even the simple deficiency of magnesium may lead to heart cramps or leg cramps, calf cramps, or even stroke. So if you are very conscious, if you could attend your body's needs immediately, you can get rid of it without going to any complications. And many more indications our body can provide. And yeah, yawning. Yeah. If you feel lazy, if you're sleepy, or if you often, very often, if you're yawning very often, your body says that your brain needs more oxygen. So you want to gulp your air through the mouth. So you're gulping the oxygen. Your body is asking for oxygenation of your brain. Your brain, cerebrospinal fluid, your muscles in the brain, everything is asking for more oxygen, so that you're gulping more air through the mouth and getting the oxygen. So that time also you can take deep breath. If you take a deep breath, and if you can inhale more oxygen inside your body, your yawning will stop again. But if it is chronic, if it is going continuously, if you are undergoing this process and continuously, so that it is disturbing your online classes, or if it is disturbing your any of your routine activities, you have to see what deficiency it has to not to provide sufficient oxygen to your brain. So that way it has to be attended. So coming to the main part of this program, due to the online classes, the people are suffering from computer vision syndrome. It is otherwise called digital eye strains. Yes, mainly it is due to the dehydration and exposure of your eyes continuously to the electromagnetic radiations, exposure of your eyes in air conditioned environment, exposure to the room temperature will lead to dehydration eventually. So you have to blink often to make it better. So the lubricating of the eyes often occurs with blinking of the eyes. Don't forget to blink the eyes. As we involved so enthusiastic with the online classes, we forget to blink. So lubricate your fluids inside your eyes, and even water intake. If you take proper intake of water, you reduce the dehydration in eyes. So it may lead to dry eyes, eye irritation, eye itchiness, redness, all because of these. If you leave it unattended, it may leads to your the sleep disturbances also. So that is the complicated. That is the complication if you leave it unattended. So when you get a dry eyes itself, when you get eye irritation, itchiness, you will take and start itching your eyes like this. It is an indicator that you are leaving your body unattended. So take care of it. And next thing is posture. Yeah, it is a main culprit for all your body body problems. So we cannot sit erect for more than 20 minutes. So what shall we do about it? These are the improper postures. Before teaching the proper posture, I want you to know the improper postures, because if you know the improper, if you want to correct the improper postures, Saifran is correcting herself. Okay, good. The forward head posture is the main ultimate culprit in the improper posture. This is the forward head posture. Let me show. This is the forward head posture. This is the, maybe I am exaggerating. People sometimes keep like this. Your neck and shoulder should be in the line of axis like this. But so often we keep our head like this, we droop our shoulder like this, and we hunch ourselves like this. Can everyone see me? Okay, thank you. So this is a problem with the forward head posture. People think that like they are erect, but you can often ask your partner or any of your friend to take a snap of you in the straight posture and in the side posture, and you can see how your alignment, how your line of axis falls, whether it is falling in the axis of ear and shoulder, hip, like that. So you can be aware of it immediately, because this improper posture and neck pain goes hand in hand. We are attending so many cases with a neck pain during this lockdown period. In the past 2 months, even if it is an adolescent or even if it is a kid, even a middle-aged person, so many people are suffering from the neck pain due to this forward head posture, because you have to take frequent breaks during the online sessions. We cannot maintain the same posture. We cannot maintain a proper posture more than 20 minutes. So what shall we do about it? We have to take frequent breaks. We can stand, we can do some stretches like this. We can do take water in between. You can walk around and come back to the sitting posture. So I cannot say, I cannot ask you to maintain a proper posture, maintain spinal alignment throughout the day. You have to take a frequent breaks. Nobody cannot sit more than 20 minutes in a proper correct posture. So taking the frequent break is ultimate key for maintaining it. And being in a hunch posture will compress our organs. Actually, we will compress our heart, lungs, even our digestive intestines, will interrupt our digestion, will suppress our immunity even, because we are suppressing our spleen, pancreas, stomach, food pipes, everything. We cannot breathe even in the forward head posture. You cannot try even right now. See, in this posture, take a deep breath and see how far you can inhale. Observe whether you can fill your lungs to the lower lobes, whether you can take the maximum capacity, whether you can take maximum volume of air in this posture. And now correct your posture, tuck your chin in, keep a straight posture and take a deep breath. See how much the air you can pull in, how much it is operating your main respiratory muscles. Because if in the forward head posture you cannot have a deep breath, you can have only the certain shallow breathing, but in the proper chin tucking posture only you can take a deep breath and you can oxygenate lungs and you can properly purify all your organs. Okay, so forward posture leads to many complications like from hair fall to fertility or any muscle issues, whatever you name, whatever you can name it, anything. It can all start from your forward head posture. So be aware of your forward head posture. Please keep your head straight. Take frequent breaks to maintain a proper posture. Yeah, this is a forward head posture. It leads to muscular issues, it leads to structural issues, it leads to jaw muscles pain, headache, so many complications I can go on. It ultimately increases the stress because you're not, when you're in forward head posture, when you're not in the present moment, you cannot be aware of how you are, how your posture is. So it ultimately leads to stress. If I talk about stress, I can go on. If you have any questions regarding the thing, you can ask in the end of the session. I will go to the next slide. So talking about the neck pain, yes, again, the forward posture is the culprit, and you have to do some stretches often, like this, like this. When you're doing the stretches, don't do it like this, one after the other immediately. Please hold on. The stretches should be hold for 15 seconds minimum 15 seconds. You have to take some time, you have to go to the extreme position and take a deep breath for 15 seconds, and you have to feel, you have to focus your muscles, like it is getting stretched, it is getting elongated, you're providing energy to that particular muscle. So if you're not focusing, even if you're exercising in the gym, if you're not focusing on the particular muscle where you're working out, it won't work. Yes, you heard it right. Yes, it won't work if you don't focus it. Where your focus is, there your energy is. So focus completely on that. Don't put the headphones. Don't distract your attention anywhere. Then please go to the extreme position and concentrate. Focus on the neck muscles and feel the elongation. Feel the muscles. Feel the energy to the muscles and give the proper energy to the muscles and stretch and hold it for 15 seconds. If you do it like this, only even 5 repetitions are enough for reducing your neck pain, for reducing your stress in the neck. Yeah, if you leave it unattended, it can leads to radiating pain down to the arms, even numbness, burning sensation, everything will start on from this. And even degeneration. Yeah, if you keep the neck in one position for a long time, even the software employees we have seen, the degeneration started in 35 years of age itself. It is so surprising. It is so sad actually, because the degeneration cannot be started before 60 in olden days. But the degeneration we could see abruptly in the X-rays, the degeneration has started, the osteophytes, the bone growth has started in the early ages itself. It is all because of the prolonged, continuous posture, continuous improper posture, which leads to the neck pain. So please avoid this and keep it in the right position to avoid these complications. And soon you will get the hunch posture if you're not making it right. And nerve compressions, you would have heard it. It is due to the disc prolapse. It is due to the compression of the arteries, compression of the veins, compression of the nerves. Particularly in the neck muscles, we have so many important arteries, important veins, which supply proper blood supply and the nerve supplies to the brain. So please take care of it. Take care of your posture. As I said, take frequent breaks. That is the ultimate thing you can keep the progress. Okay. Then coming to the exercises, these are the solutions. Everything may be new, so please pay attention to what I'm saying, the solutions. The first is the diaphragmatic breathing. I don't know whether how many of you know what is diaphragm. Diaphragm is the main muscle of respiration present inside our sternum, Okay, it is a main dome-shaped diaphragm. That is the main muscle of respiration. So often what we do, what is the improper breathing pattern, what we do is, like if you take a deep breath and see, whatever position you, in whatever position you are, please try this. Take a deep breath and see. What I am showing is the improper breathing pattern. Can you see my neck? This is improper. You should not use your neck muscles. The proper breathing pattern is, you have to keep your hands, one hand over your chest and one hand over your belly, and take a deep breath and see. Neck should be relaxed. You should not use your neck muscles or chest muscles. You have to use your belly to breathe, because when the diaphragm is pushing down, it has to enlarge the belly muscles, okay? So if you're taking a deep breath, When you're doing a breathing exercise, you have to take in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Very slowly, very, very slowly. You have to feel, as I said above, you have to focus on your breathing. When you're doing the breathing exercise, don't divert your attention anywhere. Okay. So, but we have to, you can see in babies, in infants, all breathe, belly breathing only. They do only belly breathing. And as our stresses overlap, or as when we are in shock, you used to do like when you're holding the breath during the shock, during stress, and if you are continuing the thought process for a while, it will become a habit of doing an improper breathing pattern. So you have to take care of your breathing pattern, see whether your pattern is right and correct it. And as far as the exercise is concerned, you have to do the diaphragmatic breathing like 3 times in a day, like 10 times. At a stage, you have to do 10 times. 3 sessions you have to do in a day. Okay, and you have to make it a habit of doing this diaphragmatic breathing throughout 24 hours. Even if you are a mouth breather, if you're snoring at the night, if you do these breathing exercises and if you make it a habit of doing the diaphragmatic breathing throughout your day, your snoring will stop, your mouth breathing will stop. Mouth breathing is not at all good because our nasal breathing has 3 functions, like it will humidify, it will and it will bring it to the room body temperature, and it will filter the germs. But if you are doing mouth breathing, it will not do anything. It will not moisten, it will not bring it to the, it will not regulate the temperature, and it will not filter the germs also. So stop mouth breathing. That is very bad actually. It will also lead to so many complications. And the second exercise I want to emphasize here is chin tucking, because it is opposite to the forward head posture. This is the forward head posture. This is the chin tucking. So in chin tucking, see like this, you have to bring it to the horizontal translations. Many people make the mistake of when I ask them to do the chin tucking, they will do like this. Don't do this. This is the chin tucking. Chin tucking with resistance. See, this is the chin tucking what we are seeing, and this is the resistive exercises. You can keep your hands behind, interlock your hands and keep it behind, and you have to create some force forward, and your neck should move forward, backward. You have to give some equal pressure between your hands and the head, like this. See. Maintain the pressure for 10 seconds and do it so often, because immediately you cannot correct your forward head posture because your muscles would have gone for weakness. Your extension muscles would have gone for the weakness if you have been already under an improper posture for a long period of time. So with this resistive okay, mouth opening means, see, our stress will all get hold in these muscles, jaw muscles. Whenever we get angry, whenever we grind our teeth, whenever we hold our emotions, whenever we are not processing our emotions, whenever we weep, we sob, we hold the stress in these muscles. So these muscles should be released then and there. We have to give some stretching to these muscles to let go all of all our emotions. We have to process the emotions. If you do it every day, we can eliminate our stress then and there. You don't have to accumulate and make it so stressed. So this is the exercises. You have to open your mouth as much as possible and feel the stretch here. This is the masseter muscles. This is like this. This is like this. So we are stretching it like this by opening the mouth and hold it for 15 seconds like this. Definitely you will feel the pain. Definitely you will feel the pain. That is the correct. That is the correct exercise. That is the correct intensity you have given. You have to feel the pain. You have to feel the stretch. As days goes by, the pain will reduce and you will feel only the stretch. At least it will take 7 to 10 days. So whenever you are stressed also, you do these exercises immediately. You can do the breathing exercises, and you can do the mouth opening exercises to stretch this stressed muscles. Then the upward gaze. This is particularly for you because during the online classes, you don't see up, right? So we have so many muscles around the eyes also. We have 8 muscles around the eyes, and the upward gaze, the muscles which is responsible for the upward gaze, we are not using it at all. We are not using it at all. So that we are ending up in putting the refractive error glasses, and our eyelids started to drooling down even when if you are aware of the thing that you are not looking energetic, you are not looking your eyes are not what energetic, your eyes are not glowing. The problem is you are not using upward gaze muscles. So you can do like this. Upward gaze. You look at your finger and hold it for 15 seconds. It will also pain initially because when we are not been using these muscles for so long time, so it will really be painful. If it is paining, that is the right method you are doing it. So don't worry about it. It will get used to it in 5 or 6 days. So you have to do this also. Then the energy to the temples. These are our temples. By keeping a hand, just keeping your hand energy, keeping a hand over your temples, this is called energy sandwich. This is the energy sandwich. The energy will flow between your hands. So this is the main part of the brain. This is the temporal muscles we say. These temporal muscles are responsible for holding so many stresses related to the learning, concentration, focus, overthinking, so many things. So if you're giving energy, and if you feel you have to give attention, like let go, relax the muscle, relax. If your body knows everything, your body can communicate, your body can understand everything whatever you say, because so that people are saying the affirmations are powerful, because it is the body is also listening to your words, listening to your affirmations, listening to your bad words, bad intentions also. So you will keep your hands like this, give focus like you are giving energy to the temporal muscles, and say let go, relax, relax. You'll feel the a major difference in your stress level as well as in relaxation. You can try all these techniques, and you can get you can give some positive feedbacks on this. You can see it as a simple, but they are all, I can say these are all the secrets. These are all guru mantras, actually, I could say. These are the very effective exercises. In my 17 years of experiences, these have worked so well for the IT employees, for the teachers, for many of the people who is having occupational pains, and whose job is system based, sitting, whose job is nature is sitting. So please try this and give me the feedback. This is my number, this is my mail ID, website. So please get back to me after doing all these exercises. I thank every one of you for having patience in listening to the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kalaivani, for sharing your insights into this most important topic, especially during lockdown. You have given us wonderful tips on health. We would definitely follow them to stay fit and healthy and also safe. Thank you. I now request Professor A.V. Ravi, Head Department of Commerce, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Pratibha, madam.
Over to
Good
you,
afternoon
sir.
to all.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks to all for the 6 days online international FDP on digital education. First of all, I thank the Lord God Almighty for His grace and presence for the entire program. Without His grace and guidance, the entire program will not be a success. I would like to thank the management, the secretary, Mrs. Mrinali or David, Bishop Upper College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, India, and the principal, Dr. Jemima Winston, Bishop Upper College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, India, for giving permission to conduct an international webinar and supported in all the ways. Thank you, madam. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the resource persons who gave their wonderful, knowledgeable, and valuable information to the faculty members through webinar. Dr. Nithya Ramachandran, Faculty and Quality Assurance Officer, Ibra College of Technology, Women, on the topic Digital Transformation Impacts on Classrooms. The madam explained all the things, that is the digital transformation, how the digital education is taking place in the present scenario, and so on. And Mr. Anish D. Sundar, Managing Director, Hope Mission, Tamil Nadu, India, on the topic Interactive Online Teaching. And Mr. Teril Fernando, Managing Director, Timeline Media Academy, Sri Lanka. So was discussed on the topic digital classroom and video presentation. It's a very wonderful session and very informative sessions, very informative session also. And Dr. Aguila G, Professor and Head, Department of BCom and A&F, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India. The madam was discussed on the topic how to gamify your classroom. It was also a very wonderful session, but most of the sessions are that is practical session, I think so. So I hope the session is very, very wonderful, madam, and very informative also. And Dr. Suresh B.K. Naidu, Assistant Professor in Commerce and Management, Dumkur University, Karnataka, India. It was discussed on the topic digital education issues and challenges. Then the topic is very, very relevant to the faculty members, because at the present scenario, the faculty members faced most problems. That is how to conduct the classes through online, and what are the challenges, what are the issues, how the challenges may be overcome, and how the issues solved, etc., etc. He was delivering his message in a very, very lucid manner and simple manner. It's a very, very wonderful session and a very informative session. And Cybrin Omilo, Lead Coach and Transition Manager, Flint Scott, Kenya. Madam was discussed on the topic online counseling. It was also a very wonderful session. And Dr. Kalivani Madam, physiotherapist, Coimbatore, India. Madam was also discussed, very relevant to the faculty members, that is fitness and health. Today, the present scenario, what kind of problems faced, what kind of problems faced by the faced by the IT pupils and lecturers, professors, and other faculty members. So, how our health is, what mode, and what are the problems faced by these people? Madam was very clearly explained about the fitness and the health, especially those who are working in work from home, and those who are working in educational institutions and so on. And now, on behalf of the management, the secretary, principal, and faculty members of the Department of Commerce, Bishop Appasammee College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, India, once again I thank all the resource persons who spent their valuable time for this great faculty development program. And my special thanks to Mr. Anand Jones, an alumni, Bishop Appasammee College of Arts and Science, who support, guided and contribute this valuable time to the faculty development program in all the ways. Thank you, Mr. Anand Jones. I also thank the conveners of the faculty development program, Dr. Mobi Rajendran, Associate Professor in Commerce, Dr. Pradeepa, Assistant Professor in Commerce, and coordinator, Mr. Franklin Jabaraj, Assistant Professor in Commerce, for their tireless work throughout the program. And I would like to thank our faculty members for their contribution and cooperation for the great function. I thank one and all. And I would like to thank those who are technically supported directly and indirectly in this program. Last but not least, I extend my thanks to all the participants in India and outside India, those who are actively participated in all the programs. I hope this faculty development program was an eye-opening for all the participants. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, resource persons. Thank you, Mrs. Saipran. And thank you, Dr. Kalaivani. Thank you, all participants.
Thank you, Dr. Mobi Madam, and organizer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mobi Madam, and Pradeepa Madam, and Mr. Franklin Jabaraj sir. And I'm so sorry. There is those who are directly or indirectly involved in the technical. There is technical support. I don't know the names, but anyway, I thank all the members, those who are directly or indirectly supported in this program. I don't know their names. I kindly excuse. It's a very wonderful session, and the effort, the tireless work, I hats off to the conveners and the coordinators and the committee members also.
Thank you, sir. Can we end the
Thank
session?
you, madam. Thanks. Any questions or can we?
Sir, we'll end the session.
Yeah, yes.